There's a strange kind of power most people never discover, and it has nothing to do with working harder, chasing faster, or forcing life to change. It comes from remembering differently. So many people spend their days looking ahead, wondering when success will arrive, when love will show up, when peace will finally reach them. But what if the secret isn't in looking forward at all? What if the shift happens when you look back? What if instead of saying, I hope it happens, you begin saying, remember when it happened? Feel that for a moment. Feel the energy of speaking as if the breakthrough already belongs to your story, because your mind responds to memory differently than it responds to wishing. Wishing keeps things distant. Memory makes things real. When you remember back as if it already happened, you move from chasing into owning, from doubting into knowing, from waiting into becoming. Tonight, I want to show you why this simple shift can change everything, and why the life you want may come faster the moment you start remembering it as yours. Have you ever noticed how one memory can change your entire mood in seconds? You can be tired, discouraged, unsure of yourself, and then suddenly remember a moment when you succeeded, when life surprised you, when something beautiful happened unexpectedly. In an instant, your energy shifts, your posture changes, your breathing softens. You feel stronger without anything outside of you changing. That's because memory carries power. And if memory can change how you feel in the present, imagine what happens when you learn to use it intentionally. Most people use memory by accident. They replay painful moments, missed chances, embarrassing conversations, failures, betrayals, disappointments. They revisit old wounds so often that the past keeps living inside the present. Then they wonder why they feel stuck, anxious, or unmotivated. The truth is, the mind does not always know the difference between something happening now and something vividly remembered. If you constantly rehearse pain, your body responds as if pain is still active. If you constantly replay fear, your nervous system stays on alert. This is why so many people live in yesterday without realizing it. But there is another way to use memory, a powerful way. Instead of becoming trapped by what happened, you can become transformed by what you choose to remember. You can train your mind to revisit moments of strength, courage, joy, resilience, love, progress, and possibility. You can remember the times you made it through, the days you thought you wouldn't survive but did, the challenges that shaped you, the prayers that were answered, the doors that opened at the right time, the people who believed in you when you almost gave up on yourself. When you remember these moments, you activate a different identity. You stop seeing yourself as broken and start seeing yourself as proven. You stop seeing yourself as unlucky and start noticing how many times life has supported you. You stop defining yourself by one hard season and begin recognizing the many seasons you overcame. This is the power of remembering back. It reconnects you with evidence that you are stronger than your doubts. Think about how often people say, nothing ever works out for me. But is that really true? Or have they simply forgotten the times it did? Have they forgotten the last-minute miracle, the unexpected opportunity, the recovery, the friendship, the second chance, the lesson that became wisdom? Sometimes hopelessness is not caused by reality. Sometimes it is caused by selective memory. And here is where it gets even deeper. Remembering back is not only about replaying old successes, it is also about remembering the version of yourself you are becoming. You can close your eyes and feel gratitude for the goal as if it has already entered your life. You can mentally revisit the day it happened before it physically arrives. You can remember the joy of crossing the finish line before the race is complete. This may sound unusual, but your mind responds to emotion and imagery more than logic. When you emotionally rehearse success, confidence begins growing now. This is why athletes visualize victories. This is why performers mentally practice before stepping on stage. This is why people who rise often speak like it is already done before others can see any evidence. They understand that inner experience shapes outer action. When you feel like someone capable, you move differently. You speak differently. You notice opportunities you once ignored. You become available to the life you want. The power of remembering back is that it shifts you from waiting to embodying. Waiting says, one day I'll become confident. Remembering says, I know confidence. I felt it before. and I can feel it again now. Waiting says, maybe life will improve. Remembering says, life has improved before, and it can improve again. Waiting keeps your power in the future. Remembering brings it into the present. So the next time fear tells you nothing good is coming, remember back. Remember when something impossible became possible. Remember when you healed. Remember when you learned. Remember when you rose after falling. Remember who you were before life convinced you to doubt yourself. And if the thing you desire has not happened yet, remember forward. Feel it as a memory already written into your story, because you are not powerless. You are not starting from zero. You are carrying proof inside you. Proof that you can survive, adapt, grow, receive, rebuild, and win again. The past does not only contain pain, it also contains evidence of your greatness. So choose your memories carefully. What you repeatedly remember, you repeatedly become. If you remember fear, you strengthen fear. If you remember strength, you strengthen strength. If you remember possibility, you awaken possibility. Today, don't just think about where you're going. Think about what you've already overcome. Think about how many times life has met you halfway. Think about how many hidden victories are stored inside your story. Then stand taller, breathe deeper, and move forward like someone who remembers their power. How long have you been standing at the edge of your own life, hoping something changes? Hoping the opportunity comes, hoping the money arrives, hoping the right person notices you, hoping confidence somehow appears one morning like sunlight through a window. So many people live in hope, but not the kind of hope that empowers them, the kind that keeps everything just out of reach. They keep saying, I wish, I want, maybe someday, and without realizing it, they place their dreams in a distant place where they can admire them but never touch them. There is a moment when wishing becomes a trap. At first, wishing feels harmless. It feels positive. It feels like desire. But if wishing is not followed by ownership, it turns into a habit of separation. Every time you say, I wish I had confidence, you reinforce the idea that confidence belongs somewhere outside of you. Every time you say, I wish success would find me, you tell your mind success lives in another world. Every time you say, I wish I was enough, you speak as if enoughness is reserved for someone else. The problem with wishing is not desire. Desire is beautiful. Desire shows you what matters. Desire points toward growth. The problem is when desire becomes distance. When you constantly want something without claiming it, you train yourself to remain a spectator in your own story. You watch others live boldly while you rehearse reasons to wait. You become an expert at imagining life instead of entering it. Ownership changes everything. Ownership is the shift from I wish I could to I am learning to, from I hope one day to I'm building it now, from maybe I deserve it to I know I do. Ownership does not mean arrogance. It does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means deciding that your future is not a lottery ticket. It is something you participate in creating. Look at the way people speak when they own their path. They don't always have more talent. They don't always have more resources, but they carry a different energy. They speak with intention. They move with direction. They stop apologizing for wanting more. They stop shrinking their dreams to make others comfortable. They stop asking permission to believe in themselves. When you own your growth, your choices begin to change. You no longer wait for motivation before taking action. You act, and motivation follows movement. You no longer wait to feel fearless. You move while fear is still in the room. You no longer need every detail guaranteed. You trust that clarity often comes after the first step, not before it. Think about how many people say they want peace, yet continue choosing chaos because it feels familiar. How many say they want success, yet keep habits that sabotage discipline? How many say they want confidence, yet constantly speak against themselves? Wishing without ownership creates contradiction. You say one thing with your mouth and another with your patterns. Ownership asks a harder question. If I truly believed this life was available to me, how would I think today? How would I speak today? What would I stop tolerating? What would I start practicing? Who would I become if I stopped treating my dreams like fantasies and started treating them like responsibilities? This shift is powerful because the mind listens to identity more than intention. If your identity is someone trying, you remain in endless trying. If your identity becomes someone becoming, growth accelerates. If your identity becomes someone worthy, you stop begging for crumbs. If your identity becomes someone disciplined, you stop negotiating with excuses. And ownership is not loud. Sometimes it is quiet. It is waking up early when nobody claps for you. It is saving money when nobody sees the sacrifice. It is setting boundaries when loneliness tempts you to settle. It is continuing after rejection. It is speaking kindly to yourself after failure. It is choosing consistency over drama. The truth is, many people are waiting for confidence before they claim their life. But confidence is often the reward of ownership, not the requirement. You become confident by keeping promises to yourself, by doing difficult things, by surviving what once scared you, by proving through action that you can trust yourself. So stop wishing for the version of you that already wants to be born. Stop placing your power in tomorrow. Stop speaking like life is controlled by everyone except you. There are things outside your control, yes, but there is still so much within your reach. Your mindset, your effort, your standards, your persistence, your courage to begin again. Own your voice even if it shakes. Own your dream even if others don't understand it. Own your healing even if it takes time. Own your future before it arrives. Because the day you stop saying I wish and start saying I choose, something inside you wakes up. The waiting energy dissolves. The scattered mind sharpens. The hesitant version of you steps aside. And in that moment, you stop being a bystander in your own story. You become the author. What if I told you that the stories you replay in your mind are quietly building the life you live every day? Not someday, not years from now, right now. Most people think reality is shaped only by money, luck, timing, or circumstances. They believe the outer world controls everything, but there is another force at work, something invisible, constant, and incredibly powerful. It is memory, the moments you keep revisiting, the meanings you attach to them, the emotions you rehearse again and again. Memory is not just a record of what happened. It becomes a lens for what you expect, how you behave, and who you believe you are. Think about it. Two people can go through the same setback and walk away with completely different futures. One person remembers it as proof they are a failure. The other remembers it as a lesson that made them stronger. Same event, different memory, different identity, different outcome. Because what changes reality is not always the event itself. It is the story carried forward from it. Many people are trapped in old memories they no longer question. A rejection from years ago becomes nobody chooses me. A mistake becomes I always ruin things. A season of struggle becomes life is hard for me. These memories stop being moments and start becoming beliefs. Then beliefs become patterns. Patterns become habits. Habits become lifestyle. Before they know it, they are living inside a reality built from outdated conclusions. The mind is powerful because it seeks consistency. If you believe you are unlucky, you notice everything that confirms it. If you believe people can't be trusted, you filter every interaction through suspicion. If you believe success is for others, you hesitate when opportunity appears. Memory can quietly script your future if you never challenge it. But the beautiful truth is this: memory can also heal, elevate, and transform reality. You can choose which evidence deserves center stage in your mind. You can remember the times you adapted, learned, survived, recovered, created, connected, and rose again. You can stop treating painful moments as the only truth and start honoring the full picture of your life. Maybe you remember being hurt, but do you also remember how deeply you loved? Maybe you remember failing, but do you also remember how brave you were to try? Maybe you remember being lost, but do you also remember finding your way? So often people keep records of pain and erase records of strength. That imbalance shapes how they see themselves. When you begin remembering differently, reality begins changing in subtle but real ways. You speak with more confidence because you remember competence. You take chances because you remember resilience. You trust yourself because you remember surviving difficult seasons. You stop expecting disaster because you remember blessings that arrived unexpectedly. Nothing magical happened outside you first. The shift began inside. And there is another layer most people miss. Your brain responds strongly to vivid imagination. When you mentally rehearse a future with emotion and detail, it can influence your present behavior. This is why visualization works for athletes, performers, leaders, and everyday people who achieve meaningful goals. When you repeatedly imagine yourself succeeding, calm under pressure, disciplined, healthy, abundant, connected, you train familiarity with that version of reality. In other words, memory is not only backward looking, it can become forward creating. You can rehearse tomorrow until it feels natural today. You can remember the success before it arrives by emotionally stepping into it now. That changes posture, energy, decisions, persistence, and confidence. And those changes create real world results. This does not mean pretending pain never happened. It does not mean denying hardship or forcing fake positivity. It means refusing to let one chapter define the whole book. It means understanding that memory is selective and therefore responsibility matters. If your mind keeps choosing scenes that weaken you, you can choose new scenes that strengthen you. Ask yourself, what memories do I return to most? Are they building courage or feeding fear? Are they reminding me of my value or recycling old wounds? Are they helping me move or keeping me stuck? This question matters more than most people realize. Because every day, your memories whisper instructions. They tell you whether to shrink or expand, whether to trust or doubt, whether to try again or give up, whether to see yourself as damaged or developing. If you never examine those whispers, they become commands. So start becoming intentional. Keep evidence of progress. Remember compliments you dismissed. Remember obstacles you overcame. Remember times you were resourceful, kind, disciplined, creative, brave. Remember that many things you once feared are now behind you. Remember that you have changed before and can change again. And if the future feels uncertain, create empowering memories in advance. See yourself handling the challenge. See yourself growing through the season. See yourself receiving what once felt impossible. Let your mind practice the reality you want to inhabit. Because memory changes reality not by magic, but by influence. It shapes identity. Identity shapes action. Action shapes results. You may not control every circumstance around you, but you can influence the story within you. And when the story within you changes, the world you experience begins to change with it. So choose carefully what you remember. Your future may be listening. Have you ever noticed how the words you repeat quietly become the world you live in? A person who constantly says, "Nothing ever works for me," starts moving through life like doors are already closed. A person who says, "I'll never be enough," begins shrinking before anyone even judges them. Words are not just sounds, they are signals. They shape emotion, direct attention, influence action, and slowly become identity. That is why one of the most powerful shifts you can make is to speak as if it already happened. Most people speak from what they currently see. They describe the bank account, the loneliness, the setback, the delay, the fear. They narrate life only through present evidence. If success hasn't arrived, they say they are behind. If healing isn't complete, they say they are broken. If the opportunity hasn't shown up yet, they say nothing ever changes. But when you only speak from current conditions, you become trapped inside them. You keep reinforcing the same emotional state, the same expectations, and often the same results. Speaking as if it already happened is different. It is the practice of aligning your language with the future you are creating instead of the limitation you are escaping. It is saying, "I am becoming stronger every day, while strength is still being built." It is saying, "My life is opening in powerful ways, while doors are still forming." It is saying, "I know peace is mine, while chaos is still fading." This is not denial. It is direction. Think about how often fear uses language first. Fear says, "What if I fail?" Doubt says, "People like me never make it." Insecurity says, "I'm probably too late." These sentences may feel harmless, but repeated enough, they become instructions. Your body responds with tension, your choices become smaller, your confidence weakens, your focus narrows to problems instead of possibilities. Now imagine reversing that process. Imagine beginning your day by speaking like the version of you who already overcame the struggle. "I trust myself. I know how to adapt. I attract opportunities through consistency. I am learning, growing, and rising." Those words create a different posture. They soften panic, they build momentum, they remind your nervous system that you are not powerless. The truth is, many people wait for evidence before they speak positively. They say, when I get the job, then I'll feel confident. When the relationship comes, then I'll feel loved. When the money arrives, then I'll feel secure. But life often works in reverse. The inner shift comes first. Confidence influences interviews. Self-worth influences relationships. Calm decision-making influences finances. The outer result is frequently shaped by the inner state. This is why high performers, leaders, and resilient people often speak with certainty before anyone else sees results. They are not pretending they have everything figured out. They are choosing language that supports growth instead of language that sabotages it. They understand that words either water seeds or poison roots. Speaking as if it already happened also changes how you notice opportunities. If you keep saying, nothing good comes my way, you will miss invitations, introductions, chances to learn, and doors that require courage to open. But if you say, good things are unfolding for me, your mind becomes more alert to useful possibilities. You start seeing what fear once hid. And let's be honest, this practice can feel uncomfortable at first. If you've spent years speaking against yourself, new language may feel unnatural. Saying I am worthy can feel strange when you're used to criticism. Saying I am capable can feel bold when you've rehearsed doubt. But discomfort does not mean falsehood. Sometimes it simply means growth. The key is to pair powerful speech with aligned action. Don't just say, I'm healthy, while neglecting yourself. Speak it and take the walk. Speak it and drink the water. Speak it and rest. Don't just say, success is mine, while avoiding effort. Speak it and send the application. Speak it and practice the skill. Speak it and stay consistent. Language opens the door. Action walks through it. Be careful too with casual negative speech. Jokes like, I'm so stupid, I always mess up, or my life is a disaster may seem small, but repeated carelessly, they shape identity. Your mind is always listening, especially when emotion is attached. So start speaking to your future as if it is already in motion, because it is. Speak to yourself like someone becoming, not someone defeated. Speak to your mornings like they matter. Speak to your challenges like they can teach you. Speak to your delays like they are temporary. Speak to your dreams like they belong in your life. Say thank you before the blessing fully appears. Say I'm ready before you feel completely prepared. Say I trust the process while the path is still unclear. Say I know my season is changing even when the weather looks the same. Because words are more than descriptions. They are declarations. They train your focus, shape your energy, and influence your steps. And one day, if you stay consistent, the life you kept speaking toward will stand in front of you. What once sounded bold will feel normal. What once felt far away will become your reality. So choose your words carefully. They may be introducing you to your future. What if the life you want is not waiting for you somewhere in the distance, but waiting for you to become the person who can hold it? Most people focus on getting the dream, but very few focus on becoming the version of themselves who naturally lives it. They chase results while ignoring identity. They want success without discipline, peace without healing, love without self-worth, abundance without responsibility. But life often gives us not only what we ask for, it gives us what we are prepared to sustain. There is a powerful difference between wanting something and becoming someone. Wanting is easy. Almost everyone wants more money, better health, deeper relationships, confidence, freedom, purpose. Wanting requires imagination. Becoming requires transformation. Becoming asks you to change habits, beliefs, reactions, standards, and patterns that no longer fit the future you desire. Think about it this way. If you handed your biggest dream to your current mindset today, could it stay? If the opportunity arrived now, would you be ready to handle it? If the relationship came today, would you know how to nurture it? If the money multiplied overnight, would you manage it wisely or repeat old chaos? These questions are not meant to discourage you. They are meant to awaken you, because sometimes the delay is not punishment. Sometimes it is preparation. The version of you who has the life you admire likely thinks differently than you do now. They wake with intention instead of excuses. They make decisions from self-respect instead of fear. They choose long-term growth over short-term comfort. They know how to regulate emotions, recover from setbacks, and remain steady when things are uncertain. They do not wait to feel inspired every day. They have built habits that carry them when motivation disappears. Many people keep asking, when will my life change? A better question might be, who do I need to become for my life to change? Because circumstances often respond to identity. When you become disciplined, opportunities trust you. When you become emotionally healthy, relationships improve. When you become confident, your presence changes rooms. When you become consistent, results begin catching up. This doesn't mean you need to be perfect before good things happen. It means growth attracts growth. Readiness creates openings. The stronger your inner foundation, the more your outer life can expand without collapsing under pressure. Becoming also requires letting go. You cannot carry every old version of yourself into the next season. The person who constantly procrastinates cannot fully meet the life built on discipline. The person who seeks validation everywhere struggles to hold true confidence. The person addicted to drama often misses peace because peace feels unfamiliar. Sometimes the next level of your life is blocked by loyalty to habits that no longer serve you. And let's be honest, transformation is not glamorous. It is often quiet, repetitive, and unseen. It looks like waking early when nobody applauds. It looks like keeping promises to yourself. It looks like choosing healing over revenge. It looks like saving money when impulse wants attention. It looks like saying no when loneliness wants company at any cost. It looks like doing ordinary things consistently until they create extraordinary results. The beautiful part is that becoming changes you long before it changes your circumstances. You begin respecting yourself more. You trust your own word again. You stop needing constant external proof. You become calmer under pressure because you know you can handle difficulty. You become less desperate because you know your value. You become less reactive because you know peace matters. This is why some people seem magnetic. It is not always looks, luck, or talent. It is identity. They carry a settled energy because they have done inner work. They know who they are. They know what they tolerate and what they don't. They know how to stay grounded. That energy speaks before they do. So if you want the future, don't only chase the picture. Study the person in the picture. What habits do they have? How do they think? How do they treat themselves? How do they respond to setbacks? What boundaries protect their peace? What discipline supports their freedom? Then begin practicing those qualities now, before the reward arrives. Start small if you need to. Become the person who finishes what they start. Become the person who speaks kindly to themselves. Become the person who shows up on time. Become the person who learns instead of complains. Become the person who can be trusted with little things. Big things often follow. And stop saying, I'll become better when life improves. Many times life improves when you become better. Not perfect, better. More aware, more disciplined, more courageous, more aligned. The truth is, your future self is not a stranger. It is a version of you being built through today's choices. Every boundary, every habit, every healed wound, every brave decision is introducing you to them. So don't just ask for the blessing. Become the person who can carry it with grace. Don't just ask for the opportunity. Become the person prepared to answer it. Don't just ask for the dream life. Become the version of you who belongs in it. Because once identity shifts, results eventually follow. And when they do, it won't feel like luck. It will feel like recognition.